Hey there everyone, and welcome to another episode of Duel School, where we're going to be going over some of the new stuff of version 3.0.11, I believe we're on now. As you guys have probably already seen, some new figures are in the game right now, along with the resurgence of some older ones as well that have gotten some recent buffs. So I thought for this third episode of Duel School, we should probably go over some of that stuff and see why these Pokemon are so effective and why they're so important to the meta potentially, or at least maybe the individual kind of decks you want to make. So let's go here. We'll go to the introduction of the new features and such. So we have Raikou that is back. Let's go into the details of this. So as you guys can see, it has a 2 misses that are size 4, not a bad size at all. You can eliminate at least one of them by the time you get it to level 5, which will be a mission and take a lot of XP, but of course it can happen eventually. Anyway, let's go on to why this guy is so effective. With its ability non-stop, this Pokemon cannot have weight. And it can move. It can MP move through Pokemon on the field that are paralyzed or already have weight. So that's pretty insane. This guy can get around really, really quickly with not very many roadblocks, so long as you give paralysis to your opponent's Pokemon. Pretty sick, or even your own, I suppose, in that regard. Anyways, it has Thunder, which is size 24 on the wheel, with Thunderous Blow, Thunder, which does 110, and then on to Thunderous Blow, which is its gold or yellow attack, if you will. Doing 80, which is pretty dang strong for a gold attack. And then it says the battle opponent and a succession of Pokemon adjacent to it, excluding Raikou, become paralyzed. So even if you are paralyzing your own Pokemon, you are utilizing non-stop by being able to go through all of them in a row, which can lead to some swift victories if used effectively. It has Bite, which is 50, so attack, nothing major. What you're really going to want to be looking at is Thunderous Blow, of course, and Thunder. Also with a decent dodge size of 16, not the strongest dodge in the game, but this could be worth leveling up. Let me know what you guys think should be leveled up, though. Would you go with Thunder because it has major attack power, Thunderous Blow because of its great ability and sizable damage for a gold attack, or do you think dodge would be the way to go? I'm honestly a guy that would probably go for Thunderous Blow. That could be obvious or not as to the option that you should choose, but again, it's totally up to you guys, of course. But anyway, let's move on to the next Pokemon we have here, which is Garchomp, who's gotten a recent buff. Here we go, let's check into that. So it doesn't have any ability to speak of, however, it does have Fire Fang as its attack, which says that the battle opponent becomes burned, and the battle opponent now has weight. So pretty damn sick, which can be coupled with Raikou in order to get right through them as well. Let's see, Dragon Rush does 100 damage. That's insane. And then, of course, its purple attack, 2 stars, would be Double Flight. And it says that this Pokemon jumps over the battle opponent, moving to a spot adjacent to it. If the opposing Pokemon is affected by a special condition, it is knocked out. So again, another way that Raikou and Garchomp can kind of work together, or really any Pokemon you have that can cause special conditions. However, I mean, Double Flight coupled with Raikou can be a great little combo right off the bat. Also, after moving this Pokemon may attack an opposing Pokemon again, but just once more. So really cool. So say if you really want to get to that entry point, then their goal point, then attack one Pokemon, move on, and then attack another, if not the same one, if you don't get the knockout you originally wanted. So really cool options here with Double Flight. Really decent wheel piece size as well with 28. Yeah, it's even bigger than Fire Fang, just below size by, I believe, 8 pieces away from Dragon Rush. Pretty cool. I think I would personally level up Double Flight, but I mean, I don't know. I would love to hear your guys' opinion. Gabite, its pre-evolution, is a pretty strong Pokemon in the game. It does have the potential to win some duels, and therefore evolving into Garchomp would give it 110 Dragon Rush damage, 70 Fire Fang damage, and then a 3rd star, of course, for Double Flight. That could be a possible strategy if you guys like to utilize that. More often than not, I feel like I just faced Garchomp straight up without the Gabite evolution but it does happen, and I think it's a pretty decent strategy, especially because Gabite is a really strong, defensive type Pokemon in my opinion. Anyway, and offensive as well when you start to dig through to your opponent's goal if you want to. Alright, so on to Zygarde, which has also gotten some new stat changes, I do believe. It has its ability Land's Call, which says that your ground-type Pokemon deal damage plus 10 when this Pokemon is on the field. So pretty insane. It's like a Manaphy, but even bigger, unless this Pokemon is affected by a special condition. So that is like one way that it kind of makes it fair in that, yeah, you're going to be buffing your ground-type Pokemon, and also the ability stacks. Therefore, if you have 3 Zygarde on the field, your ground-type Pokemon, including itself, are able to do plus 30, potentially, if you actually are someone that has 3 Zygarde in your deck. If you do, I mean, now it's really possible. If you combo this with Marshtomp and Swampert, using their abilities, I believe it's called Mud Coating, I want to say. When you do that, then, and if you have a minimum of 3 water Pokemon on the field, I do believe, then all your ground type Pokemon gain plus 1 MP. So with Zygarde being a Pokemon that has only 1 MP, it goes up to 2, making it even more powerful with additional attack power with Zygarde's ability and additional MP capabilities with Swampert and Marshtomp on top of that. So that's a mouthful, but it just shows how potentially strong this Pokemon can make itself along with other Pokemon in your deck. I cannot stress that enough. I think it's really, really cool. Let's move on, though, to Land's Wrath, which does 70 damage. A little scary, though, because all of their Pokemon on the field spin. Those that spin purple are knocked out. So similar to Earthquake, however, I believe instead of spinning a miss, you spin purple, and then they're knocked out automatically. So that includes your Pokemon as well. So if you do have Pokemon with purple attacks, be wary of them, be careful, because they can get knocked out just as easily. Let's move on. It has Dragon Breath for 110 damage. Pretty dang awesome with 36 size on the wheel. So pretty decent. And then Extreme Speed is a gold attack but doing 50 damage. Again, for a gold attack, that's pretty dang decent as well. I do respect. It does have 3 miss pieces, unfortunately. But again, with leveling it up all the way to 5, you can easily eliminate at least one of the missed pieces on here, thus giving yourself a chance to not hit miss quite as often, I would say. So let's move on. Zygarde is a major hitter in this new expansion, I would say. And then we have Suicune still as well. Those of you that don't know much about Suicune, let's just talk about him real quick right now, because he is amazing. Or it is amazing. I think it's a genderless Pokemon. Anyway, it has the ability Purification, saying that when this Pokemon moves from the bench to the field, remove any special conditions and curse markers from all the Pokemon you have in the duel. So pretty damn good way to just get rid of all of that. If you're not able to use Zygarde's ability, you will now be able to once you add Suicune to the field, thus purifying it, and then allowing it to be able to use its ability once more, boosting your ground-type Pokemon, of course. Anyway, let's move on. We have Ice Beam doing 60 damage, and then if this Pokemon is knocked out, the battle opponent becomes frozen. Just another way that it can be coupled with Raikou, its other mythical beast counterpart, really. So really sick. Sheer Cold, 2-star purple, the battle opponent is knocked out. If the battle opponent is frozen, exclude it from the duel. So, yeah. This purple attack has no capability of ever getting to a 3rd star, unless there's some play in the future that allows it to. But other than that, 2 stars pretty damn decent anyway. It's a decent size as well of 24. And then let's move on to Hydro Pump doing 70 damage. Decent, can't expect too much of that. And then Dodge 8, which are 2 dodges that are a size 8, which is pretty good. That takes up a decent portion. Misses 8, so it'll never completely go away, I don't believe, even if you get it to level 5, but it will be very minuscule in size by the time you get Suicune to level 5. So not really anything to stress about, in my opinion. Let's move on. But still, you can see how Suicune, coupled with Swampert in a moment, we'll get to that, coupled with Raikou, coupled with maybe even Garchomp, things can get really ridiculous, and Zygarde for that matter, really, really quickly. Let's move on, though, to Swampert, because he is another one of my favorites in this set. I don't see a lot of people using him, but there is serious potential, and especially, like I mentioned, coupling with Zygarde, and let's get into that. Mud Coating, as I mentioned, when this Pokemon is on the field, if there are 3 or more Water-type Pokemon on the field, your Ground-type Pokemon with MP 1 or lower get +1. That means it boosts itself, it boosts Marshtomp, it boosts Zygarde as well. I don't believe it boosts Garchomp, but that's okay. It's not the biggest deal anyway, but still, you can just see how crazy this guy can become. Hammer Arm, 110 damage, very, very solid. It gains weight, unfortunately, but It's just one quick. If you do it on your turn, you're not really at a loss because it'll just go to your opponent's turn and then the wait's over with. Anyway, Tractor, which is a pretty cool blue attack, you may knock this Pokemon one step back and move the battle opponent to this Pokemon's previous location. If you do, the battle opponent gains weight. So you could just Tractor yourself right into your opponent's goal point if you are lucky enough to be in that position. Pretty cool way to get stuff done. I would highly recommend leveling up Tractor out of all of its attacks, obviously. But if you guys have alternate strategies, let me know in the comment section. I would love to hear what you guys think. And then we have Ice Punch, 70 damage, pretty solid as well. If this Pokemon is knocked out, the battle opponent becomes frozen. So again, another way that you can get special conditions on your opponent's Pokemon, thus promoting other abilities such as Raikou's, or anyone else's really, Zygarde, Garchomp, anyone that takes advantage of special conditions in general can benefit from this. They're not going to be paralyzed, so maybe Raikou won't totally be promoted in that regard, but still you could see how there's a synergy there anyway. The miss is quite large though. I believe it's size 12. Oh wow, so that is pretty big, but again, you can shrink it down pretty well by the time it gets to level 5. Not the worst thing in the world for sure, considering how big you can get Tractor to be, since it's a size 28 blue attack. That's pretty monumental in my opinion. Wow. So yeah, you can get Tractor to be pretty dang huge. Let's see, let's move on, and plus Hammer Arm is pretty big as it is. You won't really have to worry about miss too much in my opinion, but anyway, we have the big V-Bad Toad himself, Seismitoad. Let's get into why this guy's pretty cool with its ability Poison Touch, which says any Pokemon that battles this Pokemon will become poisoned. Scary. Dodge is 12, pretty decent. It has 2 of that of the exact same size, I do believe. And then Miss is 8, but you can eliminate one of those. Maybe not the size 8, but the size 4 that is right there. You can get rid of that one, of course. But anyway, let's move on to Earthquake, which, as you guys may or may not know, all Pokemon in the field spin, except this one. If they spin a miss, they are knocked out. So again, you can see how it's similar to Zygarde's Lance Wrath attack. This 4-piece miss, as I mentioned, you can eliminate that. Another size 12 dodge, so it's essentially 24 size, I should say. And then it has Bumpy Vibration, which is a pretty trippy attack, saying that opposing Pokemon adjacent to your Seismitoad, Palpitoad, and Temple gain weight. So just another way you can kind of slow down your opponent's attack and advancing, really kind of keep them where you want them potentially. I don't think it's the best purple attack in my opinion, but I can see the capabilities of it. Let me know what you guys like about Bumpy Vibration and how you guys like to use it in your decks in particular, because that's really where this guy shines, along with, of course, Poison Touch, where you're just simply poisoning and weakening your opponent's Pokemon's attack just by simply touching it, just by battling it once. It's pretty insane. Anyway, let's move on. Still, we do have Zekrom as well, which you guys may already know about. It's been in the game for a long time. Darkstone, it gains weight 9 at the start of the duel. Not a big deal, because waiting 9 turns, including 1 turn for yourself, 1 turn for your opponent, back and forth, it doesn't end up lasting that long, so long as you don't get rushed down by your opponent too quickly with like them having maybe like 3 MP runners, and it just so to speak. But yeah, this guy can be pretty crazy. We'll move on though, because again, he's been in the game. Zapdos has been in the game for a while. Marshtomp, we'll talk about really quick, because he and Swampert are very similar in the regard that they both have mud coating. Again, adding MP +1 to your 1 MP or lower ground type Pokemon. It has Mud Shot, which I do like, doing 80 solid damage. Attach 1 MP -1 marker to your battle opponent, so you're slowing down anyone that gets Mud Shotted. So pretty sick. Muddy Water as well. 2-star purple, pretty dang decent for just a mid-evolution. The battle opponent and 1 neighbor Pokemon directly behind it are knocked back 1 step and gain weight, so pretty dang cool. Protect, it makes it gain weight, but it's a decent size of 16, not the worst. However, that miss is a size 12, and it can shrink down reasonably, and you have other attacks that are much bigger than it anyway, but still it can kind of get in the way, though I could definitely see why running Swampert with Marshtomp can be so beneficial, because 80 damage is freaking solid, and Muddy Water is 2-star purple. Pretty dang good in my opinion, and it just shows that you can somewhat easily evolve into Swampert, making it worth being run in a deck in my opinion. You could either run one Marshtomp with a Swampert or evolve the Marshtomp into Swampert. Either way, I think it would not be a bad idea in my opinion. But let's move on. We only have a few more Pokemon to go. Stunfisk is a pretty fun Pokemon in my opinion. Electric Mat is its ability, saying that other Pokemon can move over this Pokemon when using an MP move. If those Pokemon are the opponent's Pokemon, those Pokemon become paralyzed. So, pretty cool way of making your opponent think twice about what they really want to do if they're sure they really want to go over this guy. And if they do, well, then they're going to have an extra piece of miss on their wheel. From that, we do have a size 12 cumulatively of miss, because 8 plus 4, of course. So that can get a little hairy, but again, Electric Trap is huge with size 56, and its purple attack Fissure, which we'll get into, is size 28, so pretty decent. And it says that you knock out the battle opponent if it is not a flying type Pokemon. So a little situational, but if you're only avoiding one type of Pokemon, not the worst situation to find yourself in. So a cool little Pokemon you can do, and again, you're paralyzing your Pokemon, showing that this can be coupled with Zygarde and Raikou potentially. And I mean, even you could get it to 2 MP with Swampert and or Marshtomp. So again, you could see that there's synergy here, and they really want to promote that with this expansion, which is why I wish I had more gems, because I want to take advantage of this so badly. I just don't know if I'm going to right now. Again, if I had more gems, I totally would, but I just, yeah, I would only be able to open up 4, and while that does give me a good chance, I've been burned by this game too many times with getting like cool, really great pulls, and also really like repetitive dumb pulls. Anyway, to a bright side, we have Sharpedo, which I like with its ability Praise Scent. If an opponent's Pokemon has a special condition, this Pokemon gains +1 MP. So pretty cool. You can use this guy since it's part water type. You can use it along with Swampert and Marshtomp's ability, adding to the 3 water Pokemon you can have on the field. Then to promote MP of ground type Pokemon, as its attack Ice Fang though, to move on to attacks anyway, which is 40 damage, pretty low, but for good reason. If this Pokemon is knocked out, the battle opponent becomes frozen. So, again, pretty dang awesome. Let's see here. It has Skull Bash with 2 purple stars. The battle opponent gains weight 3, and if the battle opponent is affected by a special condition, the battle opponent is knocked out. So, pretty dang crazy. Skull Bash can be used quite effectively if you evolve Carvanha into Sharpedo even still. Then it's a 3-star purple attack with size 32. Not bad at all. Anyway, let's move on to Noxious Fang, which says that if this Pokemon is knocked out, the battle opponent becomes Noxious, which makes sense as to why it does only 50 damage, because you're kind of looking to add those special conditions to your opponent. Pretty cool. Miss of 16 is kind of big in my opinion, but I mean, this guy's a rare, he's not an EX, so it's kind of understandable as to why its miss size is so big. But anyway, let's move on. We have Steelix as well, which has recently got a pretty big buff, in my opinion. So let's see, it has 2-star Dig. You can move this Pokemon to an opponent to an open spot next to an adjacent figure, or adjacent figures in succession to the first. So those of you that are used to running Pokemon like Trapinch, you understand how Dig works. You can get across the field really quickly, similar to how Raikou can, in that, for that matter. And then Gyro Ball, which is size 28 and does a whopping 100 damage and deals +30 damage if the battle opponent's MP is higher than this Pokemon's MP. So really cool. The odds are that you should put yourself in a good position with this Pokemon, seeing that it has only MP of 1, as you guys can see right here. So pretty cool way that you can use Gyro Ball effectively, though you could also add it to getting more MP with Swampert and Marshtomp, again, just to further reiterate that, since it is part steel and ground type. Let's move on to its other and really big attack called Pull In, 3 stars as you can see, and it moves the battle opponent to the PC and moves this Pokemon to the bench. Seeing that it only moves 1 MP, it's not the worst thing that can happen to you, because then you can just set yourself up. And if you need to get rid of your opponent's Pokemon that's really hassling you, then Pull In's a great option for you. I would recommend leveling up Pull In for sure. It's a great get out of jail for free card, definitely. I like this way better than Explosion, and its miss size is minuscule with only 4, so that means you can get this Pokemon to where it has no miss whatsoever. Freaking Awesome. And also Iron Tail is 70 damage. Random, but really cool and solid ass damage. Cool. I would be happy if this thing just had a really big or even larger pieces for Gyro Ball or Dig or Pull In. But Iron Tail, not bad. 70 damage, you can't complain with that. It's cool. You can even level it up, chain level it up higher if you want. But let me know what, out of all these attacks with Steelix, which one you would level up more. Would you do Dig? That way you can get them across the field more quickly. Or would you use Pull In or Gyro Ball perhaps? Because Gyro Ball is pretty dang effective. Pull-in is insane because you can use it against anyone, and you have a high chance of making it happen. If you evolve Onix into Steelix, then it becomes 4 stars, making it even furtherly, is that a word? Furthermore, it is furthermore even harder to knock out, or to avoid, really. I'll put it that way. Anyway, Voltorb is another Pokemon that got a cool little buff, or at least an adjustment to stats. Tackle is 10, weak. And it takes up a decent size on the wheel as well, which is too bad, but not the worst thing in the world. What you want this Pokemon for are its 2 other attacks: Explosion, this Pokemon, and all neighbor Pokemon Faint, which is cool, and then Shock Blast, which does 30 damage, again, really small, but if the battle opponent spins an attack of 101 or more damage, the battle opponent is knocked out instead. So pretty cool, especially considering all the Swords of Justice Pokemon that are out right now that do 101 damage. Say Virizion, Terrakion, Cobalion, those Pokemon are gone. And those that chain level, oh, I don't know, maybe Zapdos for that matter, you have ways of getting around that with an MP3 space remover like a runner like Voltorb. So pretty cool. It's Miss as only size 4, meaning that you can get rid of it entirely. I mean, let me know what you guys think. Would you level up Shock Blast, or would you level up Explosion, or would you level up a little bit of both? I'm not sure. They're both size 32. Very nice on the board there. But this is really where I would love to know what you guys think. Do you think Shock Blast or Explosion are the main guys to go with? Explosion gives you a little more priority, potentially, at least against other purple and white attacks. But then again, if you level up Shock Blast, you don't really have to worry about gold attacks as much because, again, Shock Blast is kind of crazy. But then again, I don't think there are many, outside of Zapdos, there aren't that many gold attackers that are able to deal 101 damage. But anyway, that's just my opinion, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and hit me up on Twitter with @AJApplesauce, the same name as this channel. Have a great one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. 4th episode of Duel School is coming. I hope you're ready. Later.